Okay, great. Thanks, Pilar. This is Annie again. I want to turn it over to Lisa Schromek, who is from the U.S. Department of Labor. She's going to talk about a few things that people are typically concerned about when going through a transition, and that has to do with your employee benefits regarding like retirement and health care. So go ahead, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Annie. Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa Stromek, and I'm a benefits advisor here with the Chicago office for the U.S. Department of Labor's Employee Benefits Security Administration, or EBSA for short. And EBSA enforces ERISA, or the Employee Retirement Income and Security Act of 1974, which offers protections for both health and retirement plans sponsored by employers and unions in the private sector. And since job loss affects benefits, I will provide an overview of the applicable provisions just to help you out in making the best possible choices with respect to health and retirement for your current situation. And we will begin with health coverage and end with retirement benefit reminders. With health coverage, there are several options to consider, and in the next slides we'll go over these, which include Hipaa special enrollment rights, Cobra, young adult coverage considerations, and also the new federal health insurance marketplace. Hipaa, or the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, is the law that has historically offered protections to participants switching from coverage under one plan to another. And while this requirement has gone away for the purposes of protecting against pre-existing condition exclusions, Hipaa certificates of creditable coverage, which were typically issued as a reminder or a proof of your prior coverage, are still being provided by some plans as a way to kind of give you proof of your coverage and let you know officially what date your coverage has ended. So the Hipaa certificate also lists that date that your active employee benefits ended. And keep in mind, this can be as soon as midnight on your last day of employment, or it can continue through the end of the pay period or the end of the month if your coverage was already paid through a later date. And my understanding is that this is the case for all laid-off employees with Career Education Corporation, that health benefits will actually last through the end of the month of your layoff date. Another provision of Hipaa, as amended by the Affordable Care Act, is that when enrolling in an employer-sponsored group health plan, coverage must be effective no later than 90 days after a new employee satisfies the plan eligibility requirements. And it used to be sometimes employers would let you enroll on the first of the month following a completion of 90 days, and now it can be no longer than 90 days period. That's something to know. Another provision of Hipaa, which is especially important in this sort of situation, allows someone who qualifies for another employer-sponsored plan but previously declined coverage under that plan to now enroll outside of the open enrollment period following a loss of coverage. And this is called special enrollment. This can be a cost-effective alternative to Cobra. For instance, if the other employer-sponsored plan pays a portion and shares the cost of the health insurance premiums. So you should definitely consider looking into a spouse's employer's plan if a spouse's employer offers one, or a parent's employer's plan if you are younger than age 26. And I'll discuss that in more detail in the later slides. But also know that with special enrollment, with an employer-sponsored plan, coverage must take effect no later than the first of the month after the request is made. So even though you have 30 days to notify the plan, remember to request special enrollment before the start of the coming month if possible to avoid a possible longer break in coverage. Now for Cobra. Cobra is often used in conversation as a plan of insurance or type of coverage, but it actually is the name of a law passed in 1986, which allows you to continue the same group health plan on a month-by-month basis for up to 18 months at your own cost. Because Cobra is a direct continuation of the same plan you had as an active employee, everything about the coverage stays the same, including your proof of insurance card, your doctor or provider network, and any progress you've made towards an annual deductible. Cobra allows independent elections. So if your employer offers medical, dental, and vision coverage as separate plans, you can elect to continue just the medical, but not the dental, or vice versa. I mentioned that Cobra can last for up to 18 months, but know that it may end sooner. For instance, if the employer ends the group plan or completely shuts down, then there is no plan left in existence to continue under Cobra. But assuming the plan stays in place, the one thing that can and usually does change with Cobra is the cost that you are used to paying for the coverage. So if the employer covered a portion of the premium for active employees and then deducted the rest from your paycheck, under Cobra they can now pass along both the employee and the employer cost plus a 2% administrative fee. But there are ways to reduce the cost through what is called independent elections, as I mentioned. Just as you can choose to continue a dental plan but not a vision plan, if you have family coverage, you may also choose to continue coverage for just one family member rather than the whole family, and then the amount that you pay will be reduced accordingly. With Cobra, you will receive a notice in the mail with all of the information you need to make up your mind, including the monthly cost and where to send the payment. This notice must arrive to you within 44 days of your loss of coverage. And the Cobra election notice packet will either have the return address of your employer if they administer Cobra in-house, or it may have a return address of a third party that they've hired to take care of this compliance for them. And that will usually be a payroll service company such as ADP or a specialized Cobra service provider such as Cobra Source or Cobra Serve. So you'll also then have 60 days to make up your mind about Cobra, which starts from the later date of the date that your active employee coverage has ended or the date of the Cobra election notice. And you cannot be required to send payment with your election. If you do elect Cobra, your initial grace period for payment is 45 days. So depending on how long it takes you to decide within your 60-day window and then pay within your 45-day window, you could end up owing something like 3 months of premiums up front if you kind of take your time to decide. But after that, things kind of settle down, and going forward, your payment is due by the first of the month in which you receive the coverage. But it is considered within grace period if your payment is received within the 30 days of that month. Definitely if you have a procedure scheduled or a doctor's visit coming up, just know that the sooner you elect and pay, the sooner your coverage will be reinstated as active under Cobra, and you'll avoid this temporary interruption where it looks like you're not covered, and then looking back after it's reinstated, it looks like you've been covered all along. So there is that administrative time delay to keep in mind, and if sometimes you just can't help the administrative time delay. So if you do have something coming up very soon, just be very open with your doctor about it. Ask them maybe to hold off on billing your insurance. Let them know you're in the process of electing Cobra. Otherwise, you may have to submit out-of-pocket costs for reimbursement once your coverage shows up as active again. And it is actually possible if you maybe are interviewing, you have some job prospects maybe in the works, to maybe use this notice and election time delay under Cobra to your advantage. You may want to hold off purposely on electing your Cobra because you're not sure if another employer's coverage may take effect, and it's perfectly okay to do that since Cobra is retroactive. So if any of you are younger than age 26, you will want to pay special attention to the information on this possible additional option. So as I mentioned a little earlier, thanks to health insurance reform, one of the new requirements is that employers now allow adult-dependent children up to the age of 26 to join or remain covered on a parent's plan, even if they are married, financially independent, not living with their parents, and not full-time students. And sometimes, even if they are eligible to enroll in their own employer's plan, unless the parent's employer's plan has something called grandfathered status, then that last one would be the exception. But adult-dependent children may be enrolled during a plan's open enrollment period or during other special enrollment opportunities, such as a loss of other group coverage. And the employer or insurance company that sponsors the parent's plan can provide more details. Another alternative that we all have now is shopping for coverage through the new health insurance marketplace, or Obamacare. It is still possible to apply for financial need-based coverage directly through the state or to purchase individual coverage directly through an insurance company or broker. But people who apply through the marketplace benefit from a screening process that automatically evaluates you for financial need-based coverage provided through the state, or for premium assistance or tax credits that help offset the cost of marketplace plans. This slide now goes over some basic facts about shopping for coverage in the health insurance marketplace. There's several ways to apply. You can do so online, by mail, by phone, or in person. And there's the phone number for you. When you have a loss of coverage, obviously you have special enrollment on the federal marketplace if you do so before signing up for Cobra. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until an open enrollment period, which typically runs from the 15th of November through the 15th of February of the following year. So open enrollment for the 2016 coverage year will actually run from November of 2015 through February of 2016. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until the 18 months of Cobra has been exhausted, or the full amount of time under Cobra has been exhausted, and then you will have another special enrollment right because you've lost coverage. Simply stopping Cobra doesn't give you the ability to have a special enrollment right on the federal marketplace. And as I mentioned, the marketplace will tell you if you qualify for free or low-cost coverage available through Medicaid or CHIP, or even premium assistance or tax credits. And Illinois residents actually can also visit another website called getcoveredillinois.gov, or they can call them at 866-311-1119 from Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And my understanding is that the Illinois website is helpful for screening someone in terms of qualifying for financial assistance, while the federal website, healthcare.gov, provides details about the coverage options available and is helpful for comparison shopping between plans or determining if your doctors are in network for any of those plans. As I mentioned, very important information to keep in mind when you're thinking about replacing Cobra with marketplace coverage is that it can only be done during marketplace open enrollment, even if your coverage hasn't run out, or you have to wait until your coverage runs out, or sign up before you sign up for Cobra as an alternative to Cobra. Because the penalty here would be that if you ended your Cobra coverage and then applied for a marketplace plan during open enrollment, you could qualify for tax credits and premium assistance. If you kind of sign up for Cobra and change your mind and then sign up for the marketplace, even if they would let you on, then you would not qualify for this assistance. There also has been some recent clarification that if, for instance, someone enrolls in the Marketplace medical plan and their former employer offered medical and dental coverage under separate plans, you can enroll in the dental only for Cobra without affecting your eligibility for Marketplace financial assistance on the medical plan. As long as you do not enroll on another group medical plan for Cobra or otherwise, you can keep the subsidy that you may qualify for under the federal Marketplace. But know that the Marketplace does offer dental coverage, so this is worth considering as well. But if you've met an annual deductible for a plan, or if your doctor is in network only for the plan you have, of course, Cobra is worth considering. Medicaid is a state-based program that you will automatically be screened for and directed towards if you qualify based on income in applying for Marketplace coverage. And the nice thing about Medicaid is that you can apply for and enroll in it any time of year, and if you qualify, your coverage can begin immediately. With the Marketplace coverage, one thing I didn't mention is that they generally have a cutoff period of the 15th of every month to get covered by the 1st of the following month. So if you ever end up applying from the 16th through the 30th or 31st of a month, it's going to be a 1-month gap before your coverage would actually take effect. Another program you will automatically be screened for is the Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP. This is low-cost health coverage for families with income above the limit for Medicaid, and it covers parents and pregnant women in addition to children. Each state does have its own rules and qualifying guidelines, so you'd want to visit the website insurekidsnow.gov or call the toll-free telephone number if you're interested in more information. Finally, we would like to offer some brief but important retirement plan reminders. As a benefits advisor at the Department of Labor, I get calls from many people that are getting close to retirement age, or they've applied for Social Security benefits and they get a letter, and they end up calling us because they've realized that they don't know how to get in touch with a former employer about applying for retirement benefits, or they may have forgotten about it and now they're trying to track it down, and it becomes a very stressful thing. And so regardless of the type of retirement plan that you may have, it is a great idea to make sure you always keep your address updated with the plan if you move, so that you can continue to receive plan mailings and the plan knows how to find you when it comes time to pay benefits. And so that's something that's kind of counterintuitive for a lot of us, where you think once you've parted ways sometimes with a company, you may not think about keeping in touch, but it's definitely a good idea. Normal retirement age for full benefits under a traditional pension plan and even for a 401k would be 65, but different plans offer different options. And so just like health plans, retirement plans must be administered according to written rules. If you don't already have a copy, or you've misplaced, or you don't remember receiving it, you may want to ask your human resources or benefits person for a copy of the written rules. And the formal name for this document is a Summary Plan Description, or SPD for short. And so the two main types of plans that we may be familiar with are, like a traditional pension, which is also sometimes called a defined benefit pension plan, and a 401k, which is also a type of defined contribution plan, since you may be contributing your own money into an account. And with that type of plan, the plan rules may include additional information about rolling the money over into either a personal IRA or a new employer's plan, if that's allowed after you separate from service. Definitely refer to the plan rules and see if that's okay. Or you can just leave the money with the plan even if you're no longer with that employer, especially if you like how it's invested. And just make sure you keep your address updated so you're always getting your statements. If you do choose to have a distribution, if the plan rules allow, just know that there is a tax penalty on top of the regular tax that the IRS has special rules for. I believe if you're younger than age 59 and a half, there's an additional tax penalty. So if you can afford to do so, it's definitely best to roll it over and keep the tax protected status of those retirement plan savings. And now I'll just leave you with some contact information for my office. We're happy to answer some questions today. I don't know if we're waiting until the end of the presentation or the end of the seminar, but you can always call our office and speak to a benefits advisor such as myself with this toll-free number. We also have a lot of information on our website, and we also take web inquiries now at askebsa.dol.gov. And you would want to visit our website for the brochure entitled Retirement and Healthcare Coverage Questions and Answers for Dislocated Workers, which is available in both English and Spanish. That'll cover all of the information that I discussed today. But the PDF of this should also be available for download for you from the files pod of this webcast. And that concludes my presentation for today. I want to wish everyone good luck, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.